database. First of all, let's see what do you mean by database. A database is organized collections of data on people or things. Like database usually we do in our daily lives, like when you in our school system itself, you can see when you take an admission, your data used to be collected, like your name, address, contact number, your parents' name, father's name, mother's name, all these things used to be collection used to be done in the school when you take the admission. These collections of data is called a database. Now usually we do the collections and we fill in a register to maintain the record. So maintaining in a register is very difficult. Instead of that, we can maintain in computer. That computerized maintenance of data we used to do in database management system. There is a software called database management system. In this software, we used to collect our data and store the data. The such type of system is called database. So usually the definition of database is a database is a collection of information that is organized in such a way that we can retrieve easily and we can access in a very easy method. Not only access, we can also manage and update whenever we require. Like here we have a small database, a student database, and we collect some of the data. So these collections of data is called a database. So why do we need collections of data? Why? Instead of maintaining the data in a register, it is better to maintain in a computerized. Let's see. Some of the need for database is database reduce data redundancy. The first point, database reduce data redundancy. That means when you make a collections of data in a computerized format, that reduce the redundancy. Redundancy means duplication. Sometimes it happens that when we make a lot of collections of data, this sonu can be repeated again in somewhere of the collection. So to reduce this redundancy, duplication, if you maintain computerized, if we enter the data by mistake twice, the system is going to give an information duplicate entry. So in this manner, we can reduce the redundancy. Next point, database control data inconsistency. That means suppose we have two registers. One register is in the school and another register is, suppose you are going, you used to go to the school with the help of a bus service. So another register is to the service, bus service. So suppose you have an address in the school, same address is present in the register which is with the bus service. Now suppose suddenly you change your address, and when you change the address, you give the information to the bus service that your address has been changed. Suppose earlier you were in the Koilapur, now you have shifted to Florto, and you have given the information to the bus service, but you forgot to inform to the school. So this actually you are the single students, but now your data in the bus service and your data in the school is different. So this difference is called inconsistency. So when you maintain the database in computerized format, this inconsistency will be reduced. How? Like when you change database in one of the database, the same data will be changed for the other database also. Like in one database we have this, that is for the school. Suppose this is the school, and another same database you have for the bus service. When you change the address here, when you cancel this address and you put a different address here, the same changes will be done here in the other register also. So this is called inconsistency. So in this manner, database will reduce inconsistency. The next point is database ensure data security. That means suppose in a register, when you maintain the database in register, the other unauthorized persons can check the register and can take the informations of your data, like your contact number. If an unauthorized person want to take your contact number from the register, they can check the register and they can take your contact number. But when you keep the database in a computerized format, if you secure your data with a password, then before the unauthorized person try to access your data, security format will have to ensure not to retrieve the data by unauthorized person. That means when an unauthorized person try to access the data, a password will be asked. And if the candidate cannot supply the password, he will not be able to access your data. So in this manner, the database will ensure data security. And the last point, that is database maintain integrity. That means, suppose when you enter the marks in a mark sheet, alright, suppose you have a marks out of 100. When you make an entry of the marks out of 100, like you are scoring the marks 90, 95, 27, 76, or by mistake when you enter, it has been entered 107. So that means by mistake we enter the marks in the register 107. But if you enter the same data in the computer is going to give you a message that the data could not exceed 100. That means you cannot enter a data more than 100 because 100 is the maximum mark. So 107 is more than 100, that is more than the maximum marks. So this inconsistency will, this integrity will be maintained by the database, a computerized database, but it will not be able to maintain by the register, because in the register there is not a system to give you a message that you have entered more than 100. But in the computerized, it will give you a message that you have entered more than 100. That means a limitation will be there. So this maintenance, it can be done in computerized database format. That's why we consider to use database management system instead of maintaining the data in a register. Now let's see some of the example of database management system. Some of the examples are MS Access, OpenOffice, MySQL, Oracle. We have more than this also, but in class 12 we are going to learn about MySQL. We will learn how to insert our data in a database management system with the help of a software called MySQL. And we can also learn with the help of MS Access, but with the help of MS Access we have already learned in the earlier classes, so we will learn with the help of MySQL. But before learning the software, we need to know about the database. So suppose this is a table. A table is a building block of a database. That means when you make a database, first of all we need a table. So table is the building block. Table is the most important part of a database. So this table is called a building block of a database. Inside this table, this table is a student table, and inside this student table we have fields and record. Fields is a column. Field means a column like contact field, address field, name field. So these fields are, these columns are called fields in a database. Then we have records. Records like your Sonu, Kolhapur and contact number. These are the records. That means in the raw format. When you have a collections of data in a raw format, that is called record. We also call as tuples. So in this manner, we will make a table. So a table will contain rows and columns. Columns are called field and rows are called records. Here, the number of your columns, this is, here we count as 1, this we count as 2, and this we count as 3. This number of columns are referred with the help called degree. And number of rows, like here 1, 2, 3. This number of rows used to be indicated with the help of a name called cardinality. So in this table, if you want to find out the degree and cardinality, so here the degree will be 3 because we have 3 columns in this table. And same for the cardinality also we have 3 because we have 3 rows, that is row 1, 2, 3. So in this manner we are going to learn about the database with the help of a table. Now let's learn about the keys. Here in database, keys represents to identify the record in a table. We have different type of keys: candidate key, primary key, alternate key, foreign key and composite key. Now let's see what do you mean by candidate key, primary key and alternate key first. Here in this table you can see these are the collections of a data, and as you know here we have columns. We have 4 columns and we have 4 rows also. After this, first of all, we need to identify what do you mean by candidate key and primary key. So the key which is used to uniquely identify the data is called primary key. Here suppose the first data, that is student ID, S001, S005, S007 and S009. These fields has been uniquely identified. That's why these fields are called primary key, or we can set this field as a primary key. Now next, here also you can see that in a name field, none of the name is same. That is, even name is also unique here. So we can say this is also a primary key. Next, when you see a contact number here, even in a contact number also the fields are uniquely identified. That means here we have a group of uniquely identified key. That is, the first one also uniquely identified, the second one also, and the fourth one also uniquely identified. So when there are multiple uniquely identified key, they are called candidate key. This all together, they are called candidate key. Next, when you said this key, the first one, which is uniquely identified, and the second one here, in the second, there is a possibility that a name can be same. When you fill the data, a huge amount of data, somewhere the name of a candidate can be same, the name of a student can be same. So we cannot set this one as a primary key, because in the primary key each and every field should be unique. Even in the contact number also, we can see that if 2 students have the same parents, then their contact number will be same. So somewhere in the data there is a possibilities that the data can be same. So this one also we cannot set as a primary key. So in this table, in whole this table, only student ID can be set as a primary key. So now first we have already known that in the candidate key, the first one, the second one and the fourth one has been uniquely identified. That's why they are candidate key. But later on we know that only the student ID is a primary key. Next, out of these 3, when we said the first one is a primary key, the remaining 2 is known as alternate key. That is, first of all we get 3, student ID, name and contact number, which is candidate key. Out of this candidate key, we set student ID as a primary key, and the 2 which has been remained, these 2 are known as alternate key. Now next, after knowing the candidate key, primary key, alternate key, let's go to the composite key. What is a composite key? In a composite key, when 2 data has student ID field and contact number field. When we set these two as a uniquely identified field, then that is called a composite key out of this table. Now the last one, that is foreign key. What do you mean by foreign key? In a foreign key, now we will create two tables. One table that is student table and other table that is student detail table. Let me remove some of the portion from here, that is contact number. And in this field, in this table, let me add one more field, that is student ID. Now see, from the table student ID, and from STD detail, student ID, these two fields are same. That means when can be a key called a foreign key, when you have two tables and in the first table the student ID has been set as a primary key, when this same field has been referred in the second field, then that key is called foreign key. That means in the second table, the primary key of the first table is referred to a foreign key in the second table. Alright, that means the primary key of the first table is referred to as a foreign key in the second table. This foreign key has been used for the reference purpose. That means we can have 2, 3, 4, 5 similar database, reference database. Alright, we cannot set a huge database in huge table in single database, so we can create different tables inside a database. Some database there will be a contact number, in some of the database there will be details of the student, in some of the tables there will be details of the parents. But we need a reference number. So here the reference number is like your student ID is the reference number. So these fields are known as a reference key or primary key, foreign key for the first table. This is all about the key. Next we will learn about the data type. Now let's learn about the data type. There are three types of data type in MySQL. MySQL is a software where you can create a database. We have one more, that is MS Access, but MS Access we have already learned in the lower classes. So in class 12 we are going to learn about the MySQL. In MySQL there are three types of data type, that is number, date or time, and character or string data type. In a number we have int, float and real. In the data type we have date, time and that time. In a char we have, in the character we have char, burger and text. So out of this, in a number mostly we use int, and in the date or time we use date, and in the character we use char or burger. Now we are going to decide is in which field the data type will be int and in which field the data type will be float. Suppose by the number itself we can know that this data type is used for the number. So in a number, when you have an integer number like 95, then we can set the data type as int. And suppose if you have a number 95.0, so here with the point we know that this is not an integer number, this is a real number. So in that condition we can set the data type as float or real. Now next date we know by the data type that is used for the date itself, and for the time if you want to mention only the time, then we will use time. And if you want to mention both date and time, then you can use this date and time. So if you use date and time, you can write only the time, and if you want only the date, then also you can write only the date. And the last one, character. For the character is a text. Alright, character means a text where the field where you are going to insert any text, then that should be a char or worker data type in SQL and text in MS Access. Char and worker. In which area we can use char and in which area we can use worker. Char, if you want to set your data type as a char, then the length of the data is less than 25. If your data is less than 25, then you can set as a char data type. And if you have more than 25, the length of the characters or length of the string is more than 25, then the data type should be worker. That means in the worker you can add the length of the string can be more than the 25. Now let's take an example here. We have an example about the students, and in the students, student ID, name, address, contact number and DOB is a field of the table. Now let's try to set the data type of this table. When you try to set the data type, first you see this one is student ID. In the student ID S001, that is the first letter is a character. So the data type of this student ID will be char. Because with the indication of that S, we know that this is a text. So the data type will be char. In the second field, name, here in the name we have the name of the students. That is a text. This is also a text and this is also a text. So by this word we can understand that this field also will contain char or worker. If the length of the students is more than 25, then we can set as worker. Or you can set as a char also, no matter. Next, in the address also the address like Kolhapur and Lakhipur, that is also a text. So here also the same, the data type will be char or worker. And next, contact number, that is a number. Now here when you have a field with a number, at a time you are going to set the data type as int. So with the help of int, we will understand in this field we are going to add only the numbers. The next, the last one, that is DOB, date of birth. Here we are going to insert a date. So the data type can be date or date time. When you set that, you can enter only the date, and when you set that time, you can enter even the times here. But as we require only the date, you can set the data type as that. So with this example, let's conclude for today's class. In the next class, we will learn how to create a database with the help of command, that is SQL command.
Stay home, stay safe, do it for yourself.